There were two men, both seriously ill, who shared the same hospital room. Now, one man was allowed to sit up in his bed for an hour each afternoon to help drain the fluid from his lungs. His bed was next to the room's only window, and the other man had to spend all his time flat on his back. Now, the two hospital roommates quickly bonded and started talking for hours at end. They spoke of their wife, their families, their homes, their jobs, and the places they had traveled on vacation. One day, the man on the other side of the window expressed how he envied the man near the window and how he wished he could look out of the window and enjoy the beauty around. From that day, the man near the window started describing all the things that he could see outside the window. Every afternoon, when the man in bed by the window would be made to sit up, he would describe to his roommates all the things that he could see outside the window. The man on the other bed began to live for those 1 hour periods where his world would be broadened and enlivened by all the activity and color of the world outside. The man next to the window described that the window overlooked a park with a lovely lake. Ducks and swans played on the water while children sailed their model boats. Young lovers walked arm in arm amidst the flowers of every color, and a fine view of the city skyline could be seen in a distance. Now, as the man by the window described all these exquisite details, the man on the other side of the room would close his eyes and imagine this picturesque scene. Unexpectedly, an alien thought entered his head. Why should he have the pleasure of seeing everything while I never get to see anything, he thought. It didn't seem fair to entertain such a thought. At first, the man felt ashamed, but gradually, as days passed, and with each conversation of the events happening outside, his envy eroded into resentment and soon turned him bitter. He began to brood and found it difficult to fall asleep. He thought he should be near that window, and this unrelenting notion how now controlled his life. He could not stop thinking about it. Late one night, as he lay staring at the ceiling, thinking mean and evil thoughts about the fact that he had no window to look out and enjoy, the sick man by the window suddenly began to cough. He was choking on the fluid in his lungs. The other man watched silently as the struggling man near the window groped for the button for calling for help. Now, listening to the futile efforts being made, the man across the room never moved, never pushed his own button that would have brought the nurse to the room immediately. And in less than 5 minutes, the choking and the coughing stopped, along with the sound of heavy breathing. There was silence now. The following morning, the day nurse arrived to bring water for their bath, only to find the lifeless body of the man by the window who had died in his sleep. She was saddened and called the hospital attendants to take the body away. As soon as it seemed appropriate, the other man asked if he could be moved next to the window. The nurse was happy to make the switch, and after making sure he was comfortable, she left him alone. Now, slowly, painfully, he propped himself up on one elbow to take his first look at the real world outside. He strained to slowly turn to look at the window beside the bed. It faced a blank wall. The man was angry. He called for the nurse and he asked her what could have compelled the deceased roommate to have described such wonderful things outside the window. Why did he give me such vivid details that really didn't exist? The nurse responded that the man was blind and he could not even see the wall. She said, "Perhaps he just wanted to encourage you and make you happy." Friends, this story of the hospital window epitomizes the fact that we hold within us the keys to happiness as well as unhappiness. At the core of every person, there is a longing for happiness. Most of us have been wondering what is the secret of happiness is and how you can uncover it for yourself to improve your own life. After all, what we all want in our lives is to be happy, right? Well, the truth is, there are reliable shortcuts to happiness that are well validated by psychological research and empirical data. And these methods actually work and they work well for just about anybody. Now, there is tremendous happiness in making others happy. Shared grief is half the sorrow, but happiness when shared is doubled. Now, there's a Chinese saying that goes like this: if you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go on an outing. If you want happiness for a week, go on a week-long holiday. If you want happiness for a month, get married. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. But if you want happiness for a lifetime, make others happy. We are all obligated to help our family, friends, and acquaintances. But when we go out of the box and help somebody else, the joy that you get is just limitless. The patient by the window found true happiness on seeing his companion look happy and cheerful. Despite his blindness and suffering, he found meaning from bringing a smile on his companion's face. The story also provides a reflection on how we unintentionally embrace unhappiness. The greatest part of our misery or unhappiness is determined not by our circumstances, but by our way of thinking. Never nurture an evil thought towards anyone. The patient away from the window allowed negative thoughts to poison his mind. Toxic thoughts eventually distort and exaggerate, and when we overly focus on them, it can suck the joy out of a loving relationship. I once read, "It's not what you eat that kills you, it's what eats you that kills you." Negative thoughts can be the ultimate relationship killer. Friends, happiness is all around you. You just need to adopt the right vision to see it. Happiness is a skill, and we can all train and work at it. It cannot be far behind a grateful heart and a peaceful mind.